Hello and happy Monday, everyone. My name is meteorologist Rochelle J. We're going to take a look at the tropics. It is Monday, June 17th, and we have two areas that we are keeping an eye on for today. So let's take you to the satellite. This is from College of DuPage in case you're interested in checking this out. So you can see in the western Gulf of Mexico, Bay of Campeche, Yucatan Peninsula area. Looks like we got a new refresh there. So we've got that area. You're seeing a lot more black. So this is the infrared satellite. This is showing you how high the cloud tops are once we get into some of those darker colors and some of the grays that are surrounded by more colors. That's where we're talking about higher cloud tops, taller thunderstorms, stronger thunderstorms, and more activity in that area. And you definitely do see that in that zone of the western Gulf of Mexico. Here's a look at the National Hurricane Center outlook for Monday morning. You get these updates now 4 times a day. For the East Coast, it's 2 a.m., 8 a.m., 2 p.m., and 8 p.m. So here's the 8 a.m. update. We do have, this is now called Invest 91L. It is now up to a 70% chance of tropical development as we look toward the middle of the week. Whether or not it does become tropical, we're still looking at some pretty heavy rainfall potential for the western Gulf of Mexico, areas of eastern Mexico, Texas, Louisiana. We'll talk a little bit more about that in just a second, but it is now up to a 70% chance for tropical development within the next 48 hours. There is another area that is south of Bermuda that we're keeping an eye on as well. Lower chance for development. We'll talk a little bit more about that toward the end of this video. Here's a closer look at Invest 91L on that, again, infrared satellite. You can see those little white dots embedded in the whites or grays and purples. That's where we have some lightning being detected. And again, you can see some of those higher cloud tops, colder cloud tops. This is what we're looking at here. And you can almost see a little bit of counterclockwise rotation with this storm that we're seeing. Again, this is areas of eastern Mexico, Yucatan Peninsula, looking over toward the Belize area. As far as where this system is going to be heading, it looks like it's going to be curving off to the north and west. Looks most likely that it will head into eastern Mexico, but again, I did mention that we do have that rainfall potential that heads farther north into Texas and Louisiana, some of those western Gulf areas. So not just Mexico that we're looking at, even though the center of the storm may move into eastern Mexico. We've got that more widespread rainfall, flash flooding threat into other areas as well. So what we're looking at here, I wanted to show you all these colors that's showing something called vorticity or rotation. But what I'm really looking at is over the Carolinas, Virginia. You see that circle with 5940 on it? Don't pay too much attention to the number, but that's just showing you that we have high pressure in that area. We've got ridging happening in that area. And what that means is we have a clockwise flow around high pressure. So this will help to direct systems off to the west. So that's what we're going to be watching with 91L, as well as the other area that we'll talk about a little bit later that has that lower chance for tropical development. We're going to watch those move off to the west in the coming days. As far as how much rainfall we could be talking about from Invest 91L, that one's kind of the one that we're watching a little bit more closely. We've got, this is the Euro output, so we do have some areas, I can highlight them for you. You're seeing in the western Gulf 5-6 inches. Again, from Texas, this model has from Texas down into eastern Mexico and even toward the Yucatan and some areas of far western Cuba as well. Maybe a little bit more rain from this output for southern Louisiana. But then when we look at another output, another computer model, we have much higher totals that are coming out for some of those same areas. So we've got the potential for heavy rain in this area. Maybe still some questions as to where the heaviest of the rain will set up in the next few days. The Weather Prediction Center is calling for 5, 6, 10 plus inches, possibly in some of those areas, maybe over a foot of rain down into, again, that western Gulf of Mexico, some areas of southern Louisiana, Texas, and again, eastern Mexico we're watching, and some areas of far western Cuba as well could see some of that heavy tropical rain. And this is regardless of if 91L becomes a tropical depression, tropical storm Alberto, or anything like that. That heavy rain potential is still there regardless of tropical development, but does have a pretty good shot of becoming at least a tropical depression. So here's a look at excessive rainfall. So this shows us where we have the risk or a higher risk for flash flooding. So this is for Tuesday, June 18th. I'm highlighting Louisiana just to show you some of those far southwestern counties of Louisiana that are under it. So we're talking about also Beaumont, Port Arthur location, just outside of Conroe. We have that moderate risk for flash flooding, which is a level 3 out of 4 risk, so the second highest risk factor that they issue from the Weather Prediction Center. Galveston, Texas, Freeport, Port Lavaca. We've got a level 2 risk in Huntsville and Victoria, Texas. So let's switch over to Texas just to show you that highlighted area. Tyler, Texas, Waco, around Austin, those areas are in a level 1 out of 4 risk, but again, it's going to be that southeastern Texas area that we're watching for that highest risk for flash flooding on Tuesday. Now, we do keep a level 3 out of 4 risk in Texas for Wednesday as well, but it moves off to the west just a little bit. Now, including areas, maybe southern Austin metro area, San Antonio, still Houston, Port Lavaca, looking down towards Rockport, Texas as well. So we've got that heavy rainfall from 91L, that highest chance for flash flooding from heavy rainfall concentrated in southern Texas and some parts of southern Louisiana. But really we're watching for Texas probably for that higher risk of flash flooding. Let's take you back to the tropical outlook. This is the 7-day outlook from the National Hurricane Center. Let's talk a little bit about that other system that's now south of Bermuda, north between Bermuda and Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands, actually. Currently has a 10% likelihood of becoming a tropical system within 48 hours and a 30% chance within the next 7 days. Again, we do get multiple updates out of the National Hurricane Center as far as the outlooks for how many ever systems there may be out there. So right now it's called an area of cloudiness and thunderstorms. It's associated with a surface trough, which is an elongated area of low pressure, and an upper level area of low pressure. Could be conducive for some development of this system over the next few days. Forecast to approach the coast of the southeast U.S. on Thursday or Friday. So we're heading into this upcoming weekend. So remember, we looked at that area of vorticity and heights. We're talking about the steering back off to the west. So you can see that area heading back off to the southeastern United States. So let's take a look at forecast model. So you can see down here, see if you can highlight that, this area down here, I don't know if you can see my cursor or not, but right around here, that's the area that we're going to be watching as we head into the later parts of this week. So I'm starting this around late morning, midday on Wednesday. So you can see that heading back off to the west, northwest, maybe approaching some areas of the Carolinas, down towards Georgia. Still some uncertainty with this system, exactly where it's going to go. We're still a few days out, but we're keeping an eye on that potential for maybe some heavy rain that will impact the southeastern United States and maybe hang out there for a few days later this week heading into the weekend. So if you're planning a trip to the Outer Banks of North Carolina, might be something worth watching for sure. So as far as how much rain that we're watching for this, we do have the potential for a few inches between Monday, June 17th, and then going into late on Sunday, June 23rd. Again, this may change, this probably will change exactly where the heaviest rain sets up with this other system. But again, if you are planning a trip towards coastal Carolinas, down towards Georgia, even Virginia, coastal Virginia, I would say this is something that you should be keeping an eye on. And if you live in those areas as well, of course, keep an eye on that. So coastal locations from Hampton Roads, Virginia, down through North Carolina, South Carolina, down towards Georgia. What I'm showing you here will likely change location where the highest rain total sets up, but just giving you a heads up that we do have those two areas that we are keeping an eye on the tropics as of June 17th, 2024. My name is Rochelle J. Thank you so much for watching. Please consider subscribing to my channel if you're interested in more weather content. I also sometimes will post some information as far as astronomy and space and things that you can see in the night sky. So if that interests you, please consider subscribing. Find me over on social media. I do have links that will be in the description. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Monday, and I will see you next time. Stay safe, everyone.